The clerk's voice kept resetting itself, as if embarrassed by what it had to say. Ownership transfer pending. Please confirm intent. It repeated, blinking a light that was either a warning or a yawn. The human man leaned on the counter and looked at the alien woman standing beside him. Hands folded, posture perfect. Eyes lowered to a respectful angle that had probably been measured by someone with a ruler. Her long ears curved back along her head, utterly still, as if listening to a sound only obedience could hear. Intent to do what exactly? He asked. To acquire, the clerk said, tone brightened artificially. Congratulations. The woman nodded once, precise. I belong to you now, she said, calm as a weather report. Please state initial directives. He stared at her. He stared at the clerk. Somewhere above them, a maintenance drone laughed at a joke only it understood. I'm sorry, he said. I think there's been a misunderstanding. I was just trying to buy a transit ticket and a sandwich. The sandwich is extra, the clerk replied. The sentient is non-refundable. The woman waited. Years of conditioning kept her breathing even while her mind prepared for commands. Sit, speak, work, don't ask. The human scratched his head. Okay, he said slowly. First directive. Stop calling yourself a thing. Her ears twitched. A small error flickered across her expression. That directive is invalid. I am classified as... Second directive, he cut in, smiling like he'd found a loophole in reality, is to tell me your name, or make one up. I won't know the difference. She hesitated long enough for the clerk's light to blink twice in concern. I do not have authorization, she said. Names imply autonomy. Then call it a temporary nickname, he said. Like how I call my ship reliable, even though it once tried to kill me. A sound escaped her before she could stop it. Not quite laughter, more like a system rebooting in the wrong order. She looked startled by herself. My designation is Lyra 7, she said finally. But Lyra is acceptable. Great, he said. I'm bad with numbers anyway. Alarms did not sound. The universe did not collapse. The clerk frowned, confused. Please proceed with customary collar activation. No, the man said, cheerful. I don't think we'll be doing that. Lyra's ears flattened in alarm. Refusal indicates a test, she whispered. Punishment will follow. He leaned closer, lowering his voice. If anyone punishes you, I'll file a complaint. I've been told my complaints are exhausting. The clerk's screen filled with warnings, legal jargon tripping over itself. Sir, this system ensures compliance across 13 sectors. Yeah, he said. I've noticed it's very proud of that. He signed nothing. He joked with the machine until it froze in a loop of contradictory protocols. When station security finally noticed, Lyra found herself being gently but firmly guided not into a holding cell, but into a waiting area with uncomfortable chairs and a vending unit that dispensed only orange drinks. The human sat beside her, legs stretched out, whistling. You may still issue orders, she said quietly. I will comply. He popped open a drink and grimaced. Order number 3, he said. Sit with me and don't be afraid for 5 minutes. If it helps, pretend it's a very strange punishment. Her ears trembled. Fear was all she knew. But for 5 minutes, she tried something new. 5 minutes stretched into 47. Mostly because the station's waiting area AI insisted on counting them out loud. Minute 8 has concluded, it announced, proud of itself. The human groaned. Can we mute that? The AI replied that silence required a premium subscription. Lyra sat rigidly beside him, hands folded again, as if fear might be summoned by bad posture. Her ears kept betraying her, flicking at every announcement, every passing boot, every distant hum of engines arguing with physics. You don't have to sit like you're being audited, he said. I am always being audited, she replied. Sometimes by people who are not physically present. That explains a lot about the galaxy, he said. He leaned back and promptly set off the chair's posture correction alarm. It buzzed him with mild electricity. Ow. Okay. Apparently slouching is illegal. That chair is aggressive, Lyra said before thinking. She froze, eyes widening, as if she'd confessed to treason. He grinned. See? You're already forming opinions. That's how it starts. Next thing you know, you'll be complaining about space coffee. I am not authorized to complain, she said. But the coffee smells like despair. Congratulations, he said. You're natural at this. Station security eventually arrived, wearing armor polished enough to reflect their own confusion. They questioned him first. He answered honestly, which only made things worse. He told them he hadn't bought anyone, hadn't signed anything, and wasn't planning to start owning sentient beings as a hobby. He suggested politely that the system might be wrong. The guards consulted their wrist screens, frowned, and argued with each other in whispers. Lyra waited for the punishment that never came. Instead, they were told to remain together until the registry resolved the anomaly. Anomaly apparently was the official term for refusing to be awful. They were assigned a temporary compartment. The door sealed behind them with a cheerful chime. Cohabitation protocol active, the room announced. Please refrain from violence and/or emotional bonding. Well, he said, looking around, there goes my evening plans. Lyra stood by the door, uncertain. I will remain here, she said. You may issue tasks. He tossed his bag onto the bunk. Task 1, sit. Task 2, stop asking for tasks. She sat, slowly, like the floor might explode. Silence filled the room, thick and unfamiliar. He broke it by pulling out a small device that projected a flickering image of a cat. This is a cat, he said solemnly. They are dangerous. Lyra stared. It is small. Yes, he said. That's how they get you. Something in her chest felt tight, then loose, then tight again. Why are you doing this? She asked. Refusing ownership is inefficient. Kindness wastes resources. Maybe, he said, but I've wasted worse things. She told him about the collars, the lessons, the songs designed to make obedience feel warm. She spoke carefully, as if the walls might report her. He listened, interrupting only to make bad jokes about bureaucrats and once to apologize to the room when it glitched at the word freedom. Later, when the station lights dimmed to simulate night, he offered her a choice of bunks. She chose the one farthest from the door, then paused. If I am free, she said softly. What am I for? He thought for a long moment. Tomorrow, he said, we'll start with breakfast. After that, we'll see. Her ears lifted, just a little. The ship objected to being stolen. It objected loudly, cycling through warnings about unauthorized joyrides and the emotional trauma of separation from its previous owner. He apologized to it while overriding the lock, promising a full tank and a heartfelt wipe down later. Lyra watched this with quiet astonishment. Machines in her world were tools or masters, never something you soothed like a nervous animal. As the station fell away behind them, alarms chased their wake like angry birds. Good news, he said, hands steady on the controls. We're officially criminals. I will accept responsibility, Lyra said immediately. Punishment protocols. Nope, he said. Shared crime. It's very romantic. Or so I've heard. The ship lurched into a jump corridor that bent space like a bad joke. Lyra gripped the seat, ears flattened, then relaxed when nothing exploded. Is this freedom? She asked. It's a start, he said. Also, hold on. This ship gets sarcastic at high speed. Days passed measured by engine hums and meals assembled from questionable packets. Lyra learned small, dangerous things. How to choose what to eat, how to sleep without permission, how to laugh without checking if it was allowed. She laughed most when he tried to explain interstellar law, which sounded less like justice and more like a prank played by ancient drunk scholars. They were found anyway. A patrol ship slid into their path, broadcasting demands and fines and a very long lecture. He sighed. Okay, he said. Plan B. There was no plan B. But there was an old legal clause he'd stumbled across years ago while bored. Bonded partnership asylum. If two sentients from different systems declared mutual voluntary union, certain ownership claims collapsed under their own paperwork. He explained this while dodging scans. Lyra listened in silence. Union, she repeated. Like ownership? Opposite, he said. Choice. Mutual. You can say no. Please say no if you want to. The patrol ship hailed them again. Time pressed in, tight and sharp. Lyra felt the old instincts rise, urging obedience, sacrifice, erasure. She breathed through them. She thought of chairs that shocked you for slouching, of cats that were allegedly dangerous, of 5 minutes without fear that had cracked her world open. I do not belong to you, she said. I know, he said. I will not serve you. Good, he said. I'm terrible at being served. She met his eyes. But I choose you. The ship chimed, delighted. The patrol froze as the declaration registered, legal systems tripping over themselves. Ownership flags dropped. Warrants dissolved into apologies. The patrol captain muttered something about hating paperwork and cut the channel. Silence filled the cockpit. He let out a breath he'd been holding for years. So, he said lightly, that was intense. Want to renegotiate anything? Lyra smiled, slow and sure. I would like, she said, to decide what comes next, together. They set a course for nowhere in particular. Later, much later, as stars slid past like thoughts finally allowed to wander, she rested her head against the window. Her ears were relaxed now, listening not for commands, but for possibility. For the first time, the galaxy felt wide enough to choose.